Number 7. Polycephaly, two-headed animals. This is a two-headed snake. And no, it's not a special effect, a toy or a metaphor for Congress. It's called polycephaly, and it's exactly what it looks like. Two heads, one body, zero communication skills. It happens when twin embryos start splitting apart and then just give up halfway through. Instead of two snakes, you get one snake with two brains sharing one body, which sounds like teamwork until both brains want to go in opposite directions. And I mean that literally. Witnesses describe two-headed snakes trying to move in opposite directions at the same time. It's like having two drivers grabbing the same steering wheel at the exact same time. It's been recorded in turtles, cows, pigs, cats, and even a two-headed calf that made international news in 2016 for surviving several whole days, which in polycephaly terms is basically retirement age. One two-headed rat snake reportedly lived 20 years. Some cows have lasted over a year. Most, sadly, don't make it that far. Sharing one heart and one set of lungs between two heads is not what evolution would call an efficient system. Scientists believe predators often spot two-headed snakes much faster than normal ones, making survival in the wild incredibly difficult even before internal health problems become an issue. But hey, on the bright side, if one head gets hungry, technically the other one already ate. Number 6. Piebaldism. This is just a deer, nothing to see here, except, apparently, it's as if nature paused halfway through painting the animal and accidentally hit save. Piebaldism happens when pigment-producing cells fail to migrate properly during development, leaving random patches of the body with zero color at all. The result looks less like an animal and more like a rough draft. It shows up in deer, alligators, snakes, horses. Pretty much anything with skin decided to occasionally submit an unfinished version of itself. Piebald animals are often mistaken for albinos, but unlike true albinism, their eyes usually keep their normal color, because only certain pigment cells fail to develop. Now, unlike most things on this list, piebaldism is usually harmless. The animal can see, walk, hunt, and live a completely normal life. The only real issue is camouflage, since half your body is now the color of a paper towel, which tends to attract a little more attention from predators than intended. So really, piebald animals are just living proof that you can absolutely thrive while looking like you got interrupted halfway through a spray tan. Number 5. Ribeiroia-Induced frog mutations. This frog has 8 legs, not evolved, not mutated on its own. This frog got personally hijacked by a parasite. Meet Ribeiroia-Induced, a flatworm with an incredibly petty life goal. Infect a tadpole's developing limb buds and scramble the instructions so badly that the frog comes out with extra legs, missing legs, or legs just sort of growing wherever they feel like it. Why would a parasite bother doing this? Because a frog covered in extra, useless limbs can barely swim or jump, which makes it significantly easier for a bird to catch and eat, which is exactly where the parasite needs to go next to complete its life cycle. So this isn't even random bad luck. This is a parasite specifically re-engineering an animal's body as a delivery service for itself. Scientists have documented frogs with up to 10 total limbs. 10. Most don't survive long enough to become adults, because dragging around 6 spare legs is not exactly a competitive advantage in the wild. Somehow, a parasite smaller than your fingernail has mastered body engineering better than most architects. Areas with unusually high numbers of deformed frogs can actually serve as warning signs that a local ecosystem is becoming unhealthy. Number 4. Cyclopia. Yes, like the Cyclops. Yes, it's real. No, it does not come with any of the cool parts. Cyclopia is a developmental condition where the brain fails to properly split into 2 hemispheres, which drags the face along with it, fusing the eye sockets into a single central eye. It's been documented in lambs, cats, and other mammals, and it is exactly as unsettling as it sounds. Here's the twist, though. One of the most famous cases wasn't even genetic. In the 1950s, sheep farmers in Idaho kept finding lambs born with a single eye. and scientists eventually traced it back to a wildflower called the corn lily, which pregnant sheep had been grazing on. The plant contains a compound that interferes with the exact gene responsible for splitting the face in two. So, somewhere in Idaho, a flower was just casually rewriting sheep anatomy, and nobody found out for years. Animals born with Cyclopia typically don't survive long, since the same disruption that fuses the eye also affects brain development. The same developmental pathway responsible for splitting the face also helps organize much of the brain. When that process is interrupted early enough, the entire blueprint changes. Number 3. Conjoined twins. Same mechanism as the two-headed animals from earlier, just more committed to the bit. Instead of a partial split, the twinning process barely gets started at all, leaving two nearly complete individuals fused together, sometimes sharing a spine, sometimes a chest cavity, sometimes most of their internal organs. It's been recorded in calves, piglets, and kittens, and results range anywhere from 2 heads and 1 body to genuinely 2 separate animals, just permanently attached at the hip. Literally. Most conjoined animals don't survive long due to the sheer complexity of sharing a circulatory or digestive system between 2 individuals who each still think they're their own person. But every so often, one beats the odds. There are documented cases of conjoined calves and piglets living for months, occasionally longer, under specialized veterinary care. Proof that nature occasionally makes a rough draft that somehow still ships. Veterinarians study rare surviving cases because they help scientists better understand how organs develop before birth, not just in animals, but in humans as well. Number 2. Extreme gigantism and dwarfism. Extreme size mutations. While humans were out here selectively shrinking dogs into teacups for fun, nature was already doing its own experiments, entirely by accident. Random genetic mutations can cause individual wild animals to grow dramatically larger or smaller than the rest of their species. Full-grown adults ending up at a fraction of normal size, or others growing well beyond anything their bodies were built to support. Unlike the deliberately bred versions we see in pets and livestock, these are one-off biological glitches, not intentional design, which somehow makes them even weirder. Nature just occasionally decides to test the upper and lower limits of a species without asking permission first. The catch is that both extremes come with consequences. Undersized animals often face fragile bones and organ complications, while oversized ones deal with joint stress and heart strain, because bodies are generally built with a specific size range in mind, and nature does not appreciate being told otherwise. Interestingly, these rare animals can help researchers identify the genes that control body size across entire species, making them valuable far beyond their unusual appearance. Number 1. Chimerism. The strangest one on this entire list, and it's not close. A chimera isn't a mutation. It's not a birth defect. It's 2 separate embryos, fraternal twins, that fuse together in the womb into a single animal, with 2 full sets of DNA. Which means a chimeric animal is, biologically speaking, its own twin. It's not one confused creature. It's 2 entire individuals who agreed to just share a body and never speak of it again. The most famous case is a cat named Venus, whose face is split perfectly down the middle, one side orange, one side black, with 2 different colored eyes to match, because each half of her face is, quite literally, genetically a different cat. It's been documented in cattle, too, sometimes resulting in animals with patchy, mismatched coloring that looks less like a birth defect and more like 2 different animals had a very confusing merger meeting. And the wildest part? A chimeric animal can walk around its entire life looking completely normal. In some cases, scientists only discover an animal is a chimera after performing DNA tests on different parts of its body and getting 2 different genetic identities. Nature doesn't follow a script. It experiments constantly, and every once in a while, one of those experiments survives long enough for us to witness it. Some of these animals lived only hours. Others survived for years. But every single one helped scientists understand a little more about how life develops, and how fragile that process really is. Which of these surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoy strange stories, where science is often stranger than fiction, subscribe because we've only scratched the surface.